All right, so today we're going to go through a lesson, and we're just going to go through the general punctuation that we use at the end of sentences. We're going to cover a period, we're going to cover an exclamation point, and we're going to cover a question mark. We're also going to go through a couple of the uses of commas so that we're not too confused with that, because it can get quite confusing while we're in the middle of sentences, where to place commas, what to do with them, and so on. So the first thing we're going to cover today is that we're going to go over when we use a period. So we're going to use a period when we're writing general sentences or statements, such as the owl is hooting. And we're going to end that with a period. It's not a question. We're not saying it emphatically. So we're just going to end that with a general period. Another example of this would be statements such as, the football is brown. Again, we're not asking a question. We're not doing any type of saying it emphatically, anything like that. So we just end it with a general period. The next punctuation mark that we're going to cover today is actually we're going to do a question mark. So a question mark is pretty self-explanatory. It's used in text when we're writing a question, such as, what time is it? And that's what a question mark looks like. Another example of when we would use a question mark is if we were asking somebody how old they are. Again, for that sentence, we would use a question mark. One final example would be if we were asking somebody where they're from. All of these are situations in which we would use a question mark instead of a period. That gives us the opportunity to end a sentence that is a question, and it gives us a punctuation mark to put at the end of those sentences. The next thing that we're going to look at is an exclamation point. Now, an exclamation point is used when we're trying to say something emphatically. If we saw somebody doing something that was something that wasn't right, or something that they shouldn't be doing, we would say, what are you doing? And we would say that with an emphatic tone. And if we were saying something with an emphatic tone, that's when we would use the exclamation point at the end of the sentence. Another example of when we would use an exclamation point would be if we were driving in a car and we got lost and we were going around in the wrong directions, or we were just going in circles. Maybe we were in the passenger seat and we were getting kind of furious or getting agitated, and then we would look over and say, where are you going? And then we would end that with an exclamation point. The exclamation point in that sentence is used to show that we have that type of agitation in our voice, that we're getting upset. So that gives us an opportunity to show that we're agitated or upset. One final example would be if you were having like a birthday party or something like that, and there was somebody that you just really didn't get along with, and they showed up at your party. You would yell at them and say, "What are you doing here?" And you would end that with an exclamation point. That would show, once again, your agitation in your voice. It would show the irritation of that person being there. And that's exactly what an exclamation point is used for. It's there to show that you're emphatically saying something. All right, now we're going to go through a couple of instances in which you would use a comma. A comma is used to take a pause or break up specific parts in writing. So when you're writing certain words or things like that, you want to use the comma to break up certain parts of sentences. They're used after coordinated conjunctions to separate an individual clause. So that would be, I know that sounds complicated, but what that means is that you would use it after the word and, but, for, or, nor, so, and yet. And I'll give you an example of that. It was time for school, but you would use the comma right after school right there. But, and what that's doing is that's separating the sentence. So it was time for school, but, and the comma is used to show pause in your voice or a pause in the sentence. It was time for school, but Kelly hadn't gotten out of the bed yet. So that's one way that commas are used. Another place that you use commas is when there's a list of something that you're naming in your writing. For school, Kelly needed pencils, pens, and crayons. So you can see in this example, for school, Kelly needed pencils, then it's followed by a comma, pens, comma, and crayons. And what that does is it separates our list out. one more example of that would be for football. John needed pants, comma, pads. Now if you said a helmet, so that just shows that it's separating the list. I hope this is very important in our writing. It has multiple purposes and helps us make clear and concise writing. Thank you.